Hey there and welcome back to everyone, or if you're new to my channel, my name is Katie and this is Louisiana Cooking and Living, and we are continuing on with our canning collaboration for hashtag January 2024. This is put on by Barbara Sue from Kowalski Mountain, and we will have in the description box all the different channels that are participating in our canning collaboration. And I have been so inspired to fill my pantry or canning pantry, that I'm going to actually continue on canning throughout. If you can hear my dog whining, my son is outside hitting golf balls and he wants to go outside with him. It makes me lose my train of thought. I've been so inspired by this. I'm going to continue actually producing some canning videos after this month is over. So if you watch my very first canning video of this canning collaboration, which I did, I think it was the ham bone broth and the chicken bone broth, I just gave you a little slight pantry tour, showed you my new pantry shelves my husband had built for my cans or my jars, and then I kind of panned around and showed you my little bitty antique shelf I had been using, and I didn't know what I really had, and putting it out on this big pretty shelf where it's all spread out, I can see what I had. And I can see where I'm lacking. Like I have one jar of salsa left that I'm probably opening tonight. I need to put more salsa on my shelf. Of course, we're not getting tomatoes right now because it's the middle of the winter, but I'm gonna show you, I do have a video on making salsa and canning it back in the height of summer when we were getting tomatoes in, but I'm gonna give you a video coming up of how to make salsa from canned tomatoes if you don't have tomatoes from your garden, or if you don't even have a garden and you're wanting to make salsa on your own. So I have a few more ideas coming up. Today we're going to be doing some preserves and jellies, because when I moved all my jars, I realized I'm almost out of preserves. My husband loves strawberry preserves, raspberry preserves, and we're out of them. So I need to get those made. I'm just finding things where I'm lacking and what I need to get done. So I'm so glad this all happened at the same time as my husband building these shelves for me, so it all kind of worked out and I can get all this done. So today we're gonna be doing raspberry preserves, blackberry preserves. If I get to it, I'm gonna be doing grape jelly. And I found this new thing of making whipped honey, and my neighbor gave me some honey. And so I think we're gonna, if we can get that in this video today, we're gonna whip some honey, and I'll show you, it's such an easy process. You put it in your mixer and you let it go for like 10 minutes. That's it. Then you have whipped honey that's a texture of like a softened butter. So hopefully get all these done today. I am doing a pectin alternative for my preserves. I found this technique on America's Test Kitchen where you use Granny Smith apples. There's such high pectin in these apples that you can use those for your pectin instead of the powdered pectin. Of course, for the grape jelly, we'll be using the powdered pectin because to put grated apples in there would be kind of weird. So we'll move over to the stove and we'll get started. All right, so I have 3 cups of raspberries, and I bought frozen berries from Whole Foods. So I have 3 cups of raspberries and 3 cups of blackberries in here. My husband was concerned about the blackberry seeds. So what I'm gonna do is, as these start cooking and I start mashing them down, we are gonna mash them with a potato masher. That reduces the cooking time because we don't have to like break them down from the cooking process, so it keeps them more fresh. I will, I think, push some of this through a strainer and try to get some of those seeds out he was talking about. Honestly, I've never really eaten a blackberry, so I don't really know how big the seed is inside the blackberry. So I'm gonna get these burners on, we'll get these going, and I'll start mashing them down. While they're heating up, I am going to go ahead and peel. I have 2 Granny Smith apples, 1 for each pot, and I'm gonna peel it and I'm gonna grate it on my cheese grater. I'm gonna get these stickers off and get these washed up, and I'll peel them. All right, so my raspberries are cooking down pretty quickly, so I'm gonna go ahead and start smashing them down. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 3 cups of sugar to this as soon as we get them smashed to how we like them. And that was really pretty quick. Those Look how vibrant red that is. Which I did want to get these smashed before I smash these because I didn't want to introduce any of that darker color to this, but I don't mind going this way with it. Alright, so next we're going to add 3 cups of the sugar. This is just granulated sugar. We're going to add the grated, this is one of the apples here, grated. We'll add that. And for safety of canning, to ensure the acidity of this product, we are using bottled lemon juice. You're supposed to use bottled because if you used a fresh lemon, they can't guarantee the acidity level of it. So you use bottled lemon juice because it's going to always be, I think it's 7% acidity. Anyway, it's the gold standard to use bottled lemon juice. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice. Now, once this starts cooking, because we have to cook this until it becomes 217 to 220 degrees, and this will start foaming up. So in order to combat that foaming, we are going to add a tablespoon of butter to this. Doesn't change the flavor to it or anything. It just helps that foaming to not happen. Alright, so now we're going to continue to cook this over medium heat, and we're going to move over to the blackberries. Alright, let's see if these will start crushing down. I had done some blueberry preserves probably 2 years ago, and I did not crush them like this. And it ended up being like a blueberry syrup because their skins didn't really pop in the cooking process. And so it didn't thicken, and it was pretty much whole blueberries. But it made a great syrup for pancakes or waffles or French toast or something. I do have my jars in the oven to heat them. It's not to sterilize them, they are clean jars. The FDA no longer requires you to sterilize your jars, so they're just in there getting hot because we're putting hot liquid into the jars. We want hot jars, and I have my canner here heating with water in it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is try to run this through, or some of it at least, through a strainer and see if there's a bunch of seeds that my husband was talking about. I'm not going to use a fine strainer because I do want the chunks of the fruit, so I have this bigger strainer and I'm not going to run it all. I'm going to kind of try and scoop from the bottom. I don't even know if this is going to work. I may not even do this because I don't want to lose all this fruit. Alright, we're going to skip that because raspberries have seeds. I'm not sure. Let's see. I mean, if they're small like raspberries, they should be fine, right? Alright. So here we're going to add our 3 cups of sugar. We'll add our 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. We're going to add our tablespoon of butter. And then we'll add our apple. Give this a stir. You can see our raspberry is starting to bubble. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a plate in the freezer. We want it nice and cold, and that way we can check, I guess, viscosity of this to make sure we have it at a great gelling consistency. So I'm going to put a little plate in the freezer. Okay, our raspberry has reached 218 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I have my plate. I hope this doesn't shock this plate. Putting this on here. Put a little bit on here. It's kind of scaring me now. I'm going to do it over the counter instead of over. Alright, so we have our jelly over here, and we'll just let it sit for a sec. Oh, we need to put it back in the freezer for a minute. Alright, so here's our little plate, and I'm going to run my finger through it and we'll see together. All right, so it left it, it left a great line between, so that tells us our preserves are ready. That ratio is not too sweet. It kind of gets you a little bit right here. So I'm gonna move my pot over here and we will start canning up our preserves. All right, I have my jars here. I have my funnel, and we are just going to start ladling this in. Again, we have hot jars, we have a hot liquid, and my canner is on there getting hot. And we are going to do this to a 1/4 inch headspace. A little bit more. And we'll just fill these up until we've run out of preserves, and then we'll move on to the blackberry. Something I wanted to show you, if you can see on this plate, even though we use that apple for our pectin, you don't see any actual apple. It actually really just does dissolve into it and thickens it up with the natural pectin, but it doesn't leave any like apple chunks. All right, our blackberry's ready, so I have it over here, and we'll start ladling up the blackberry. The color of this is such a deep purple, it's so pretty. All right, I'm gonna finish ladling these up, and I'm gonna wipe off the rims of my jars with some vinegar. And we'll get our lids and our rings on. As always, we want our lids fingertip tight, and we'll be water bath canning these because of our acid level. And we will water bath can these for 10 minutes, which means we'll put our jars in, bring our water to a boil, and after the water comes to a boil that's covering our jars, we will set our timer for 10 minutes. All right, let's get these ladled up. Okay, while we have these in the canner, they all fit on one level. I'll bring these to a boil, like I said, and then start my timer for 10 minutes. And so while this is going, we'll start on our grape jelly. I'm using the Ball Canning Cookbook here, and the recipe is on page 108 is what I'm following for the Concord grape. So what we're gonna do is, it has like a basic recipe on one side, and then it gives you on like a list of all the different flavors you can do. So you kind of flip back and forth. So it says, in a large deep stainless steel saucepan, place the juice, whisk in the pectin until dissolved, bring to a boil over high heat, stirring frequently, and then we'll add the sugar. So our juice amount, we have 5 cups of grape juice. So we just bought this grape juice from Whole Foods, and this is what we're using. And like I said, we're gonna need 5 cups. So I should have known this was a quart. It was gonna be 4 cups. I don't even know why I measured that. And then we'll need 1 more cup out of this. All right, so that's our 5 cups. Into this, we are going to add 6 tablespoons of the pectin. I just ordered this pectin on Amazon. I can leave a link in the description box if you're interested in it. All right, looks like we're at a rolling boil, so I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes. All right, 6 tablespoons. Whisk it. And now I'm turning my heat on. All right, it says we're gonna bring this to a boil, and once we hit a rolling boil, then we're gonna add our sugar. And we are going to add 6 cups of sugar to this. We don't want this to burn, so we're gonna stir it frequently. All right, we're up to a boil. So we're gonna add our sugar in here. And it says we're gonna bring this back to a boil and let it boil for 1 minute constantly, like continuous boil for a minute. I am gonna add my tablespoon of butter to this, because just before I brought you back on, I felt like it was about to overflow because it bubbled up so much. So we're gonna add our butter to this. The first time I added the butter, my husband was like, "Why are you putting butter in there? That's so weird." I'm like, if you put jelly on buttered toast, what's the difference? So we'll bring this back to a boil and let this boil for a minute, and then we'll get it in our jars. All right, so this is all of our jellies, or preserves and jellies we got made. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 pints of the blackberry, 2, 4, 6, 7 pints of the raspberry. These are all half pints, sorry. I have 2 pints of grape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 half pints of the grape. Now the whipped honey, I didn't want to make this video too long, so I think I'll put that as a short coming up in this next week. And you can check that out if you want to see how I make the whipped honey. It's very easy to do, like I said. Anyway, I'm so thankful for this collaboration and getting all these canned goods on my shelf. And I'd like to thank Barbara Sue again and everybody else for participating. And if you liked this and want to follow along and see what else you can and cook and whatever's going on in Louisiana right now, I don't know if you could tell outside. It's kind of yucky, dreary weather today. Last week we had some pretty cold temperatures. I think 4 or 5 days of the week last week we did not get above freezing, and this week it's 70 and rainy and nasty. So Louisiana's kind of up and down. And also I'm very excited that I'm getting all my stuff ready to go to get my seed started, and we will be getting our seeds started together really soon. And I just hope you hit subscribe, comment below if you have a question or want to have a discussion about something, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.